Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining our today's webinar on the advantages of using project release package. I'm Syed, working as team lead area for Altern products here at GSAS Spectrum Systems. And this session is under recording. If anyone having any questions during the presentation or during the demonstration, please type your questions in the chat. We'll discuss at the end of the session. Now, let us get started. And sorry. Today our agenda is what all things get packed when you use a project release and how the data is going to synchronized and how the varied data is being generated and how the project is being verified and integration of version control and sending that output data to the manufacturer. We're going to discuss about this in today's webinar. Now let us have a look at the what gets packed. Before we take a look at the advantages of using a managed project release process, let us quickly review what we are packing. When we are done with our project, we need to prepare files for our manufacturer. Those files fall under three categories: board manufacturing or fabrication, board assembly, and lastly, documentation. For each of these three stages, we need to generate a number of output files. Usually, users create their own output files for each of these categories. So, for example, to manufacture the board, you will need to include cutting files, drill files, and a layer stacker for the fabrication. Is the output of file. And for your assembly output of file, you will want to include a pick and place assembly drawings and solder test layers. And for your documentation, you might want to include an DXF file and a step file. The project release is based on these output of files that we create. So when you are setting up the project releaser, you will assign one or more output job files for each section. The section being fabrication, assembly, and documentation. Of course, you can always add more sections to match your process. And if you don't have any output job files associated with your project at the time of release, you can still start the release process. RTM Designer will automatically create some where we can modify and configure. These output job files are created using a generic template stored in a specified folder, and you can replace the generic templates with your own. Now let us have a look at the data synchronization. One of the biggest and most common problems manufacturers face when producing a PCB is a mismatch of data between the documentation, schematics, and board layout, or any combination of the three. So making sure that the information you send out is up to the date and of the same revision is critical, and it's not just a mismatch of information, but also we don't want to send out the wrong files for production. That I think would be even worse to send a wrong uh, images manufacturer files because of the mismatch of information. The manufacturer could discover it and point out before it produced. But if you just send outdated information, you send outside information, you could be developing a board that does not work or meet your requirements. Luckily, the pause laser in Ultimate Designer can help you avoid these works together with the version control system, which provides the independent storage of your project and its output data. The output data as well as release have the life cycles, and you will be able to see if it's ready to be produced, obsolete, or at a different stage. Secondly, the release will create a copy of the project at the same time of release, and all the output data will be stored within. And the third, during the release, the project once again passes a number of verifications that you have set. If there are any errors, the release process will not continue. You cannot release the project with errors. And what about variants? When it comes to the variants, the project releaser can make your life a little easier. When you do a release, all the variants of your project will be automatically read. Then one assembly output of file will be generated for each of the variants. If your project have dozens of variants, you no need to run output data generation multiple times. Just run the project release. Now, what about project verification? No matter how careful we are during the final stages of design, an additional check is never superfluous and gives us confidence that the output data we are generating will be correct, especially if you are working in a team. You could have teammates that open up a schematic or board and make some last minute changes without you being notified. So additional validations to one of your output Java files can help you avoid errors. The project will be automatically checked during the release, and if there are any mismatches or errors, the release will be stopped. Available validations for the project are ERC, DRC, and difference between board and schematics. We can add validation of differences between footprints of the board and the library. And when using managed components in RTM 365, we can check the status of these components. Maybe they have been edited in the library, but in our project, they were not updated. With help of this GRC validation and difference report, we can able to perform this again by using the project releaser so that we can avoid the design errors so that your PCB will be fabricated without any errors. Now, how we can integrate the version control system? The project releaser allows you to save all data to your folder or archive, but in order to make the most of the project releaser, you should be outputting to your RTM 365 workspace, where version control is integrated with RTM Designer by default. All generated data as well as releases will be controlled by the version control system, which has ability to manage data life cycles for each type of output data. A different object will be created in the repository, and for each type you can set up a different life cycle. The project release also has its own separately managed life cycle. This gives you ability to track whether the design data is approved or not, and if it is approved you can change the release lifecycle status to approved and then send it to the production. All of this project data is easily accessible to anyone in your workspace. You have the ability to view and download the output package. You can even compare the release packages with previous release and provide commits in the version control. Now, how we can send this to the manufacturer? When it's come to the sending this release package to your manufacturer, RTM 365 makes it easy without needing RTM Designer. You can send your data package to your manufacturer through your web browser. All you need to do is decide on what you are sending, add a comment or description, and input an email address, and your manufacturing data package will be sent. Information will be displayed in the browser. You can also deny access to your manufacturer or anyone else at any time. Now, let us see all these features, how it can help you to release the right data and send the right data to your manufacturer by using RTM 365, by using the RTM Designer project release options available. Now, let us jump into the RTM Designer. I hope you're able to see my screen, and this webinar is continuation to our previous webinar, and I have the same project I showed that do last webinar. This is the project. This is, I'm just opening the PCB. I think you all know we can able to have the board in two-dimensional mode, two for 2D and three for 3D. And this is a power distribution board for a drone. And we have four layers. Now let us see how we can release the outputs of uh, this power distribution board by using the R project releaser available inside the RTM Designer. Now right click on this project name and go to project releaser. And before that, I hope all might able to see this project is under version control and it is under workspace. Okay, make sure if you are going to use project releaser and you want to release your data to alternate to workspace, first make sure this project is available online with version control enabled. And later, right click on this project name and go to project releaser. And if you see here, I have the output jar files set what I told we have default templates for used for configuring this. If you want to have your own, you want to configure this output jar file, you can configure the same on your own. But we are using the default templates. You can also configure the same by your own. Okay, this is the one thing. I think just a second. It is yes, yes. See, this is the how I have configured this output job file. See, here I configured the DRC rule check. Okay, like this you can configure. And now let us move on to this option called project releaser. When I go to the project releaser, we have got some six steps it will be going through. First, it will be checking the server configuration and it will be doing the validation. We have enabled DRC and footprint comparison. If you enable, it will do the validation. And later, the start step, it will do the generation of the data and which will review the data, which will also help us to view the data and upload the data. And we'll be getting the final report of the uh, project release data. Okay. And if you go further details, as we have showed, discussed during the presentation, a copy of the source data will also be linked to your identity file, which is a good thing. You have another copy, and based on the output of file, the data is being configured. If you want to reconfigure something, just click on configure it, open the output of file so that you can able to do some changes at the last minute. And DRC as I told. And we also discussed about the variants. We have two variants which will generate the two assembly output of files, one for no variant, one for other variant. And if we have n suppose 10 to 15 variants, it will generate assembly drawings for all the variants single. And there is no need of worrying in the output jar file, need to drop or select the particular variant generate. There is a lot of confusion in generating the data, which variant it is. But here, if you have the releaser, if we have variants, each variant will get a separate output data. Okay. Now we have here options. When you click on options, we have release options. Under releasing options, we have release target, where you can see we have got managed, which is a cloud application in my company. In your case, it will show your company application name. If you want to have locally, it will be stored in the file folder, which is unmanaged zip. You get a zip file or unmanaged folder. But we want to have this data to be managed and need to send from that to the manufacturer by using R365. Hence, I am setting this managed in my workspace. And the source data, I don't want to include source data, my assembly drawing, assembly and fabrication data. I want to only source data. And fabrication data, I want to include only fabrication file. That's why I have enabled this fabrication. And assembly data, I want only assembly. Okay, this is a way we need to use this option to configure the button or output generated in terms of source, application, and the assembly data. Okay, once we have done with this, all these things, now we are good to go in the generation of the data. Now let us click on prepare. Once we click on prepare, it will be preparing the data and first checking the configuration server release. It will be configured to the server. It will ask you to check the server connectivity. If the project is not committed, it will won't release. We have to ask it to commit. And as I told, it is from the DRC. It is called second step validation. The third step is it's been generating the data, which will take a small amount of time, not a huge, which will generate all the data at a time. You can see here, once DRC is passed only, we are jumping into the validation, which is very good future as per my knowledge. As per, because as a designer, uh, we don't do any mistake, but to go outside, some mistakes may happen, which we fail to run DRC and had to release the convert your data to your rental or to your manufacturer. But if we have this kind of setup, DRC will be automatically verified. If it won't verify, it won't release the data. But when you are manually releasing, tool won't know DRC pass or fail to release the data as we have given the comment. With this, if DRC is fail, it won't move to the next step, which is a very good. Then you will have some time you will get to rectify the issue, and then you can again do this process, which is a error free. Because most of the cases, maybe 100 net, which we feel that it is been rooted, but after running DRC only we came to know there is some 100 nets. Okay, and see now the data is being generated, and here in the review data, if you want to review, you can able to review the data. You can see the view option is being highlighted. If you click on this view, the Gerber, you generate the preview of the Gerber in the RTM Designer. And the same way, you can also preview the assembly drawing data, how it is being generated. You can able to click on view, it will open the PDF. You able to see the assembly drawings data generated by the RTM Designer Project listen. Okay. Now, just we have all the steps. You can see no variation and with variant. So we have the all the data is being generated. Now the next thing is we are now good to release your data to the RTM 365. For this, just click on the needs, and then you can put some notes for the better understanding. As I told, I got a version control. These notes help us to keep a track of your versions. Okay. Now you can see these are total size. It's been pushing to your applicator. And so many times I heard from my customers that, hey, sir, my fabric is saying the size of the fab is too large, and their email command is not accepting. Can we compress? Gerber can't be compressed, and it is not good for compressing the Gerber. It's not good. Then, if we adopt this kind of solution, there is no need of compression. The data will be very much on our alternative, and as I told, you can share them. Once the application is done, you can delete the access. See, there is no where the traces of files with the management. Okay, you can see this is the data report. I will show the what is the data is being generated. You can able to see all this information here, and we have the links to the output generated in the again 65. If you click on this, it will open the Explorer panel. What is this Explorer panel? Explorer panel is helps us to access the RTM 65 data in RTM Designer. Okay, and you can see we got 5 pages. Out of 5, we have got the nodes also can be seen here. Okay, now if you see here, Gerber ASCII files, instance and fabrication files we have. If you click on these ratings and if you go to view and just go to project view, we can see the all the project related parameters as well. Okay, you can see here. Okay, and if you want to download, you can see timestamp who released it. If you want to download this output, even source data, what data you want to have, you can able to select the same and you can able to download. Okay, each release have. And also we have an option to change the state, like which stage you want to promote. So now it is in draft mode. Now if you want to promote the prototype, then anyone who have access to this file, if they are going to use this only for prototype, only they have to use this command. It's not used for the production. This kind of Lifecycle management is also available with the help of the RT54 Pro subscription when you use the product releaser to release your data into the RT55 Pro. Okay. And also we have a option you can able to open the same in the Ultimate Designer, or you can share the same here. And also if you want you can able to click on this open in web, which let us to open in the RTM 365 by using the browser. As I told with my during the presentation, without having RTM Designer, we can share the Gerber with your fab house. We can review it and share, which is possible with the help of this Altec 365 when we release your data by using project releaser to Altec 365. And we have the PCB over here, and you can see the PCB in two-dimensional. You can even able to put layers, able to enable and disable the layers, which is quite possible, like how we do in the Altec Designer for verification, inspect or checking the PCB. You can have to do same thing in the Altec 5 and the 3D, and we have BOM. And important thing here is we can even cross probe. You can see in the PCB when I selected, it will highlight location of the component on the PCB in 3D and in the bill of material, and also in the schematic where the combination and the information of the component parts also shown here. And if you go to the section where we are discussing the releaser, the project release data will be shown and the releases. You can see we have got 5 versions of the project. The timestamp you can see this project is being widely used, and we have 5 regions. And you can see we have another again same option which let us allow you to change the life cycle of the project. And you can see we have got lot of regions which we have the version control enabled for this project. And you can also click on this open, which let us allows us to open this project in the another window where you can see all the information of your project. And if you want to download, you can even download and what the data you want, you can download. And also we can see the snapshot of the design here as well. This is a draftsman which is in beta. Maybe as a beta as it will be showing here. Maybe it will you can get the same in the upcoming releases. And this is how you can able to view the same, and you can even download and the version name. And we have a comparison also available. You can compare with the previous versions, bomb to previous versions, smite to previous version. And you can also click on this send button, which used to send to the your fabrics. Then I don't want to send the this assembly information. I want to send only the fabric information, and you can give a comment, and you can able to. Yes, this is my email ID. I want to use my fabrics. I want to send it here. I just click on send. I click on send this information about this Gerber is shared with the fabrics on the email. Then you can directly open the Gerber and review, and you can download and you can go to the tools which you use to solve it. And you can see this has been quite something which is being see here. There are some information I think I have shared a long back, and also again it's shared today. You can see what's the file which been shared. You can also see this, and you can also open this. What is a file is being shared? You can also do the same. And if you don't want this now, your contact is that means now your file is being successfully navigated, and you don't want to let him do that, get the access of your project, then you can click on delete so that he may not be able to get access to your files. Okay, that's all about the today's webinar on advantages of using a product release package. To summarize our today's webinar, we have focused to how we what are the steps are there in the release process, the DRC checks, and reviewing the design and then releasing it. And followed by we have discussed about the how we can able to access the same in RTM Designer, how we can change the lifecycle status, and we have showcased the version control of the product release data, and we also showed how we can work and review the same and how we can compare, and also we showcased you how we can send the same to your fabrication house. Okay, this is about today's